Hi. So last week I didn't post because last Thursday was a holiday and I traveled to visit my family. So that's why I didn't post. I filmed a video on Tuesday. I'm going to put like the what I said back then, but I didn't post and I didn't like pressure myself to do so because it was a holiday and it was our last like long holiday until November. So here in Brazil we have a lot of holidays, but um, the holidays that we have between July, August, July, we don't have holidays in July, I think, in my city at least. So okay. In case someone's not from Brazil, so we have city holidays, we have state holidays, and we have country-wide holidays. So here where I live, we don't have any holidays in July, and the holidays in August, September, October are all falling on a Saturday or a Sunday. So I think we have a city holiday in August, which is great because it's my mother's birthday and it's Father's Day. So I really had to take advantage of that because it was a Thursday, so I didn't work on Friday and I came back home on Monday. Hi, from the mess of my bedroom once again. Okay, so just to say that today's May 28th and it's very, 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 very cold. And maybe if you're not from Brazil, you may think, well, but is there cold weather in Brazil? Yes, we have. Like, where I live is this like transition zone between the tropical and temperate climate. So we get pretty cold days around like May and July, I think August. It's not super cold most of the time, but we do get super cold days like today. And I mean super cold to our standards, of course. We don't get snow and stuff, but we are used to mid-20s, 30s. So when it gets below 20, like today, it's I think like 17. Let me see, 13. Wow. It's 13 degrees Celsius. Don't ask me Fahrenheit, like I'm totally against Fahrenheit and imperial system, but anyways, it's 13 degrees Celsius. So that's very cold for us. So I mean, I really have to moisturize a lot because my skin gets very, very dry. And yeah, just that. I'm working right now, so I just took a little break to do this. And my hair is straight. I don't think I've recorded a vlog so far with my hair down, but my hair is naturally curly, but the Saturday I straightened it. So I kind of got tired of my hair lately. I've been having, I don't know, I've been very uninspired when it comes to hair. So I tried straightening it this weekend to see if I find some of that hair joy again. We'll see. I may get a haircut next month, next week, the next weekend, not this weekend, the next. I'm still thinking about it, if I want to cut my hair, but I don't know. I'm trying to think what's going to light up the spark again for me taking good care of my hair. Like I take care of my hair, of course, but not, I don't know. It's weird. I think it's a phase. It will pass. I've always been very like worried about hair, and hair really affects my mood. Like when my hair is not good, I usually, it's because I am not very well. So maybe that's a sign. Things to think about. And yeah, this is the 4th day in a row when I had hot chocolate for breakfast. So I'm very thankful for that. We had really hot days. We had and it was not only like a hot summer, like we've been having really hot days since like September last year. So yeah, climate change is real, and we should care about it way more than we've been. But yeah, we had really hot, like absurdly hot days, and now we're having cold days. So I'm grateful that I get to feel like cold because even you know, it was so hot that even like when you flip over your what is the word? I forgot it. I forgot how to say it. Pillow. Oh my god. You know, when you flip your pillow and the other side's like a little colder and it's nice and refreshing. It was so hot that there was no cold side to the pillow. And even like cold spots in the bed, you know, like when you move your leg and you find that cold spot on your bed, and nothing. We had nothing of that for months and months, and it's very tiresome. It's very difficult to live in hot weather. Of course, cold weather has its problems as well, especially for cleaning the house. Like over here, cleaning the house, cleaning the house takes a lot of like water, you know. So that's hard, but I mean, I'll be grateful because I know it's going to be a short time, and when we least expect, it's going to be hot again, and it's going to be worse because this is what's happening to the planet. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say for today. I'm working this week. We have a holiday. We have a lot of holidays in Brazil. Like almost every month we have at least one holiday. This month we had 3 because there was 2 national holidays and 1 citywide holiday, and that is, I like it. Like for me it's nice because then we don't have to work, and I'm not because we have a holiday on Thursday, I'm not working on Saturday, so I'm traveling to visit my family, which is nice. But yeah, that's it for today. This is me trying to diversify my vlogs. Okay. Yeah, I wanna talk food. So one of the best things I think in winter, we are still on fall, but winter is coming in June. In June, I think. Let me see. Is it June or July this year? June. So it's coming in June, mid-June, winter, but it's already like pretty much winter weather, not like fall weather. We don't have really like the 4 very defined seasons like in temperate weather. We have hot, and then we have cold, and then we have like this nice middle for a while. But we don't really have like fall weather. You know, we can have really cold days in in fall and in the spring, and sometimes really hot days in fall and spring, so it's a mess. Yeah, let's talk food. So food is one of the best things to me in this weather, because most things, most of my comfort foods are like creamy and like soup and, you know, broths and things like that. And in summer it's harder to eat that stuff because you feel really hot and uncomfortable the whole time. I don't really like hot weather. I think because I grew up in a city that is, well, it's very far from the beach, but it's so hot. It's hot all year. We have maybe like a month of cold weather tops. Like it's like 11 months of hot and dry weather. And I think that's why I think people who grow up, who live most of the time in like cold weather and more like rainy weather, humid, maybe they hate it and they would love to live in a dry, hot place. So we always want what we can have, right? Anyways, I'm thinking of I'm making a lot of soup lately. So I had the black bean soup that I showed you last week, and I'm making meat. I don't know how to say that. It's like pulled beef, I guess. Anyway, it's nice. It's stringy and it's melting and it's delicious. I don't know how to cook a lot of different types of meat, but this is one type that I really can do well, and I'm making it, and I'm also making some like potatoes, so I can make a creamy soup and have like the pulled meat together. It's going to be great, and I always look forward. I had like I bought more ramen, because ramen in winter, I mean, it's a no-brainer. And also, of course, hot chocolate. So lately my meals have been mostly hot chocolate, bread, butter, and soup, and ramen. And ramen when I can like go out and buy some ramen. That is really, really, really nice. The main theme that I observed in these past weeks was, what do you do when you have too much to do? Because I feel like the list of things I have to do is really, really long, and it's overwhelming. Like I talked the last time that about being overwhelmed, and I mean, it is what it is. So from one overwhelmed person to maybe other overwhelmed people who are here, what do you do when you have too much to do? Well, you do one thing at a time. This is what I've been doing. So I've been trying to take one thing at a time, and if I do one thing at a time, then I'm going to finish all the things that I have to do, and that's it. That's the best I can do with everything that I have to do. And I mean, it's, of course, it's difficult, it's daunting, because you feel like, but then this won't be done and that won't be done. But, well, when everything is important or urgent, then nothing is really important or urgent. So what is sometimes the difference in importance from one activity to another is very, like, it's a very thin line, and we have to think like, what is going to improve my life right now, what is more pressing, which part of the house is is dirtier. And even like which part of the house is what impacts my daily life the most, which part being like dirty, disorganized impacts my life the most. So to me it's the kitchen. So I always start with the kitchen, you know, doing dishes and cleaning all the counters and everything, sweeping the floors, cleaning the fridge, see if there's something that's expired that I have to throw away. And after I do that, then I'll do the next thing. And that has been helping a lot. Like yesterday, I went to the doctor in the morning. So I went out, I had breakfast out. A nice breakfast in a nice bakery, and then I went to the doctor, and then when I walked back home, I stopped by to do like errands, to buy food, and I went to the supermarket. And you walk, you know, downtown, you see people, you see the stores, and that is really nice. And when I got home, I got home pretty early, so I had to over 1 hour until I had to start working. So I decided to like do stuff. So I cleaned the counters in the kitchen, and then I organized my living room. And it's hard, right? Because like I really have to clean the floors in my living room. But then there was a lot of stuff on the floor. I'm the kind of person who always has stuff on the floor. I remember one of my friends, when we were roommates, I remember once I cleaned my room, and she entered my room and she was like, "Wow, you have a floor in your bedroom." And I always end up having a lot of stuff on the floor, don't know why. So I cleaned up the floor, I picked up everything and took everything out of the counters, and I threw out what I had to be thrown out. I pushed things away back in the place where they belong. And I couldn't clean the floors, but like I took everything that was on the floor off the floor, and that was very satisfying. So yeah, and it didn't take that long. Another thing about doing what you have to do, and doing one thing at a time, is that you think that the time you're going to take to do that is going to be really long. But I did a time lapse of cleaning the kitchen, and that took 38 seconds. The time lapse was 38 seconds. I took 18 minutes to do that, which is a really short time considering how daunting it sounded to me. It felt like it was going to be really difficult, but it was 18 minutes, and I was filming myself while doing it, so that's why I know. But this is something I think when I watch these vlogs of people filming their routines, their lives, I think it's a really interesting experiment to film what you're doing, because it gives you another perspective on how long things take and what it looks like to do it. I think it's a nice exercise. I know it's not for everybody, but I think it's a nice, interesting thing if you wanna do it. So I visited my family, and I saw everyone, my parents, my sisters, and my nieces, and my nephew, and my brothers-in-law. And that was nice, going to church and seeing people, you know, from the city where I grew up. It's always a lot of love and people saying I look great, I look beautiful, and it's always nice to hear that. So yeah, that was nice. Another thing that I've been thinking a lot is, I think I may have mentioned this before, but there's this Instagrammer that I follow. She posts about K-dramas, dramas in general. And once she said that like that people think she creates content for other people, but in reality she creates content for herself. She makes the content that she would like to be consuming, and I think that is a really great perspective. I've been working with customer relations for more years than I would like. It's funny because I end up dealing a lot with the public when it's something I really don't like. I don't like I said in the last video, I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like talking to people too much. I like talking to my friends, to my family, to people that I'm intimate with, to my coworkers, but I don't really like talking to strangers, and I have to do that a lot. And I think that has shaped my mind to always think of what I'm saying and how people will react to it. Because when you work in customer relations, this is something that you have to learn. Like, you have to get to know your public. You have to always think of everything that can happen with every word that you say. So how will they react, and what are the possible answers that they can have? What are the possible doubts that it can generate? So you can cover everything and make sure that it's clear and it's appropriate for everyone. And that is difficult, and I feel that kind of like shapes my content. And I've been doing this other exercise that is doing the content I would like to see, talking about things that I like to talk, and doing it first and foremost for me. And also my public is people I know in real life, are my friends. So that is another thing that I always consider, but I've been trying to do something that makes me feel accomplished instead of thinking only of what others want to see. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the things that I've watched and read the past weeks. So the past 2 weeks, I did watch a lot of stuff actually. I was looking at my list, and I think that's nice. That means I'm getting better. I'm getting more productive, which makes me really happy. So I finished Queen of Tears. I had only 2 episodes left, and I was really scared of finishing it. And I have thoughts. So I mean, I like the ending. You know, I think it has a lot to do with this theme of forgetting stuff, and that I've been working with because of the posts I'm preparing to talk about the Memory Police, which is a book that talks about forgetting things and remembering things. So she forgets everything, but she remembers it because her heart remembers it, and it's a really interesting thing to think about, a really interesting perspective, because her heart didn't forget, and I think that's very, very beautiful. That's nice. But I mean, this author, she's the same author of Crashing Landing on You. She's the same screenwriter. So I feel like, what does she have against people just being purely happy? What does she have against it? Because we have, like, in the whole drama, if we have, like, in 16 1 hour or more, like 1 hour to 1 hour and a half episodes, we have maybe, what, 20-30 minutes of the couple being happy, just, you know, pure joy, pure happiness, they enjoying each other, enjoying their marriage. And like Marry My Husband, for instance, they give us 1 episode of pure happiness. There's 1 episode where they are just being happy, where they just are together, and and enjoying the relationship. But in Queen of Tears, you don't have that. It's like they have like 5 seconds of peace, and then they start suffering again. It's awful. I love the drama. I love the story. I love the characters, and she's great in this screenwriter. She's great in creating good characters. Like every character is good. All of the characters are deep. I really like the secondary characters that she creates. I like how she gets the different parts of the cast and she makes them mesh together in unexpected ways. She's really good, but she's against like people being happy, I guess. I would like for her to give us more moments of happiness. It's like, I even think like, towards the end, she really was very heavy-handed on the, disgrace that was happening. And spoiler alert, if you don't want spoilers, you should skip this part. But why do you have to make the main character, the husband, be run over by a car in the ending of the 15th episode? If you have 16 episodes, and then in the end of episode 15, he's run over by a car and he goes to the hospital and he's in a coma, and I was like, why does she have to do that? And then and then he goes, he's not in a coma yet. He goes to the hospital because he was run over by a car. But then his wife is kidnapped, and then he goes, and then at the beginning of the last episode, he is like all broken and hurt from being run over by the car. She goes to save her from the villain, and then he takes a bullet like in the shoulder, and then that's when he goes to the hospital and he's in a coma, and I'm like, why do you have to do that in the last episode? Why can't we have them being happy? And I had gotten spoilers pictures with them with a child and all, so I was like, okay, last episode they're going to be happy in the last episode. Well, that's not what happened. And why did I expect that to happen? Because Crash Landing on You is the same way. Like, they suffer until and then they are only happy in the very ending of the last episode. So this is what I have against her. But I think she's a great writer, a great storyteller. I just would like for her to be less just graceful, I guess, with her characters. They deserve a little bit of happiness. Like, give us, like, you have over 16 hours, maybe like 20 hours, 24 hours in total. Like, give us 1 hour of happiness. 1 hour. I'm not asking for you to do the whole drama, but like 1 hour of happiness would be great. Thank you. I started 2 other K-dramas. I started Signal, which is a drama from 2016, I think. And it's police officers. One is in the future, one is in the past, and they connect through a walkie-talkie. And there's this one police woman who connects past and present because she knows both policemen. She's attached somehow to both of them. So they start investigating cold cases, and at the same time they are trying to save the policeman who is in the past. It's really good. If you like cold case, you're gonna like this drama. It's really, really, really good. And the guy who plays the profiler, he's the only actor. He's one of the few actors that I know in this drama. Like, most of them is my first drama seeing them. But there's Kim Min-gyu, really young, but he plays like a minor role. He's like this police officer who supports the team, but he only appeared like in 1 episode so far. And he's really young and cute. And there's, because it's like a 2016 drama, and the actor who plays the profiler, he's the uncle in Move to Heaven, and he's so different. I only watched Move to Heaven with him, so he's so different in this drama. He's more like serious and composed and, you know, well dressed and all. So it's very nice. I feel like sometimes his action is a bit exaggerated, but I feel like this is the beginning of his career, so he was like adjusting his tone, but most of the time he's good. And I started the Atypical Family. For now, like, I only watched the 2 first episodes and the beginning of the 3rd episode. I like it. I like stories like Queen of Tears. I like stories that deal with family relationships, and there's like a father-daughter relationship that I'm very interested to see what happens. I think the premise is really interesting as well. So they all have superpowers, and they kind of lost their superpowers due to modern life problems. So the mother, she can see the future in her dreams, but she's struggling with insomnia. And the daughter, she can fly, but she's, I mean, okay, that one yeah, you know, South Korea will never disappoint when they deal with fat people. It's always, I mean, they never disappointing us, because it's always going to be terrible. And this one is like, she can't fly because she has gained weight, so she can't fly anymore. She used to be very beautiful, a model and all, and she wears like a fat suit and stuff. That didn't really, I didn't really like that, but we'll see. But I mean, you know, but yet, considering, you know, it's a South Korean show, it makes sense that it would be like that. And then we have the main protagonist, and he can go back to the past, to happy moments in the past, and he can visit those moments, and he's not being able to do that because he has depression, which is very interesting, because depression really does all your happy moments. So I think that's interesting. That's an interesting premise. The sister's story, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's like, oh my Venus, I like the drama, but I have to talk about the drama specifically at some point, but, you know, Korea, South Korea, fat suit, I mean, yeah. So, but I like the characters, I really like the protagonists, I really like, what is his name? Kang Ji-young? Is that it? Let me see. The Atypical Family. Jung Ki-young. I really like him. I think maybe most people got to know him because of My Roommate is a Gumio. He's a really great actor, and I think he's doing a great job. He always does a great job. He's a great actor. And this character is very different because it's a character that doesn't rely on handsomeness. So that is interesting. And then we have Chung-hee, who is also from the 8 show. She does like a completely different character once again. So she's kind of a con artist, but she's going to realize that this family is not the typical family she would prey on. So she's a great actress as well, and I really like the pairing. And I really like the daughter as well. She's not only really cute, she's a really great actress, and I think she's doing a fantastic job. And I'm really I think the plot I'm most invested is not even like the romance between the protagonists, is the relationship between the father and the daughter. Kang Ji-young is the father, and I really want to see how this relationship unfolds. They getting together again, meeting each other again. I think that would be really cool. I've watched also 3 documentaries. I watched the Ashley Madison one, and I remember hearing about Ashley Madison, but I didn't really know what it was. So I thought it was something that had to do with like porn, which is not. It is kind of what is the name, like eHarmony, those relationship websites, but it's for people who want to cheat on their spouses. So you find people to cheat with. That is really difficult to pronounce as a Brazilian. To cheat with, people to cheat with. So they had this massive data leaking by a group that was against the website's premise, and they I mean, it's a really, really good documentary because it got me thinking of some things. First is, when we look to like 2010, the early 2000s, but also the 2010s, it's really early internet. It's so funny, like now, how it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but the beginning of the 2010s as well was crazy, and crazy things like it's old internet. That is old internet, because they didn't really have safety certifications. They created this CO that they put in the website, which wasn't real. They didn't really have any data security procedures, and that was that is important for any application or website that uses people's data, but especially for this one, like where it's a very secretive thing. You are cheating on your husband, on your wife, mostly on your wife, as you know, it is. We know it is like that. Mostly it's men cheating on their wives, and that is a very secretive thing. And leaking data about that, just you would think that is bad, right? So that is crazy. They still haven't solved it. And the most surprising thing, I think, of all, is that this website still exists. It's still up. And it also got me thinking that, when we say that everyone deserves grace, awful things happened, but I was thinking that, like, how there are certain things that is very difficult for us to extend grace to certain people and to certain wrong things, right? So when I saw this, I was like, you are cheating, and you are doing that purposefully, and you are paying money to the website. You had to buy credits and stuff. You saw that coming. Things are going to go south at some point. And the horrible things that happened, I was like, but can I say, like, they deserve it? They are getting the consequences of their actions, but do they deserve some of the extreme things that happened? That got me really thinking that when we talk about extending grace to people, that is way harder than we think, right? Because there are situations where it's very difficult to say, no, this person also deserves grace, this person also deserves forgiveness. It's really difficult. Got me thinking about that. How, like, before God, that is very serious and that is a sin, but they also deserve grace. And I'm thinking, like, how can God deal with that? Because to me, it's like the worst thing a person could do, one of the worst things a person could do, in all of the consequences. Most of them are well deserved, but at the same time, do you really deserve all of the pain and the estrangement? I mean, it's hard, right? It's one case that I always thought, like, no, there's no grace for this. And it got me thinking. I mean, you have to deal with the consequences of your actions, of course, but when does it stop, like, the punishment? I don't have an answer. I'm just throwing this question in here. I watched Quiet on Set, which is very unsettling, very, very difficult one. Also because all of these people, all of the TV shows, they are very close. They are very dear to us, right? Like, I grew up watching Amanda Bynes movies, and I would watch all of these Nickelodeon shows with my sisters, Drake and Josh, and iCarly, So it's very sad, and it's a very sad documentary. I think Drake Bell was very brave in what he did, in acknowledging everything. He was very, I think, responsible and very accountable. But it's a difficult one. I didn't even watch, like, there's a 4th episode that is after of the repercussion. They did an interview with Drake Bell and some other people involved. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you heard that. It's a very noisy gate. So I didn't even watch it because I was like, it's digging too deep and I can't deal anymore. But it's a very important documentary as well, because children in the entertainment industry, I think this issue is getting more complex by the day. Like, now we have children that have social media and social media profiles, like parents, families that explore their children, their children's images on social media. And I think that's a very serious issue that we are not really looking at. And I think what happened in the past on TV, on movies, is something that we really, really have to think about, because now we have all of these children on the internet, and how are we protecting them, really? So that was that's a really good documentary. I would not watch it again, but it's good. And I watched that Dancing with the Devil, about the 7am TikTok coach. That was a weird one. I really like watching stuff about quotes. I guess maybe because I'm a church goer, and when you grow up in church, like I grew up in church, you know that things are, things happen, a lot of things happen. So I really like watching documentaries about quotes in general, because it's really crazy how much people manipulate faith and trust and this need for belonging in order to do really, really bad things. And I think that's kind of what angers me and fascinates me when it comes to this type of story. So that is a very revolting one. Um, and at the same time, it was kind of unfocused, I would say. I think the narrative, because it's an ongoing situation. So they did interview some people who are out of the cult, but there's still a lot of people who are in there. It's still happening. No punishment happened, so it's a situation that is still unfolding. I kept thinking if maybe it's too early to be doing that as like a documentary. At the same time that I understand how important it is that more people know about this story. One thing that really made me very mad is that the first woman went and denounced the fake pastor, and they were like, oh well, you need more women. And I was like, one woman being, violated is enough for it to be a crime. Like, why do you need a lot of women to testify? That really angered me, and they are still like managing it. So no, I also didn't really like these intimate conversations between the two sisters. I really didn't like that they showed that, like the conversation with the father. I don't think that was necessary. I think that was a very weird addition, and something that shouldn't have been explored, I believe, in this documentary. And the third episode was kind of all over the place. I think they could have wrapped up well in 2 episodes. So, I mean, it's interesting, but like I said, it's a situation that is still unfolding, so there's a lot of proof and there's enough to build a case against them. But maybe if they had done a little bit in the future, it would have been better. Well, I watched two movies. I watched a movie called Beautiful. Actually, it's a German movie on Max, and it's called Wunderschön. I don't know. I don't know any German, so yeah. But I think it's Wunderschön. Beautiful. And it's about women find beauty in themselves. I think it was a really great movie. I cried a little watching this movie. There's women of all ages, there's girls, and they are all in different points in their lives. And they're all dealing with their body image and how they see themselves. That was a really, really great movie. And I rewatched Miss Congeniality when I was at my family's home. And this is one of my ever favorite movies. And I think both movies kind of they kind of have the same theme of what it means to be a woman and femininity and how that works for each woman, and also relationships between women. So Miss Congeniality is a really interesting movie, and I think really, when you think about the time when it was released, it was early 2000s. Let me see. 2000. It's a 24-year-old movie. I think the ideas that this film brings about what being a woman means are very interesting and still very, very current to this day. And Sandra Bullock, I mean, I watch anything and everything she does. I'm still binge watching Psych while I work and while I do dishes or while I cook. And I'm in the beginning of the third season, and I'm in this episode where they have the high school reunion, And the 80s references, and there's Rachel Lee Cook, is that her name? Rachel Lee Cook? Yeah. Rachel Lee Cook, who I love, and she plays a character, a really interesting, great character in Psych. It's like, it's going to be a recurring character. And it's a really cool episode, this high school reunion episode. It's the season 3 episode 2. It's called Murder Anyone Biller. It's a great episode. Like, it's iconic. It's very like reminiscent of the 80s like high school movies and all. So that's really cool. Last, I'm reading a book called Ace of Spades. I saw something about that book, and then when I went to the Kindle store, I realized I had already bought it. I have this problem with Kindle because there's always these sales. So I end up buying books and I forget that I have that book, because Kindle is like is on the cloud. It's not like on my shelf. So once in a while I end up finding books that I didn't remember that I bought, and even I put like on a list of things I want to do this year, I put that I want to catalog all the books I have in my Kindle. So I can know, like, because they're there, you know, and I really would like to read everything, because I think on Kindle I buy things that I really want to read. I think it's different. It's not that when I buy actual books I don't want to read them. Of course you want to read every book that you have, but I think physical books is more like a collection, and I will buy the physical version if I like it, if I like the book nowadays. But I really have to get through and not buy any new books on my Kindle like for this year until I finish reading a good portion of the books that I have in there. So I'm reading Ace of Spades. It's a mystery story. I didn't want to do this comparison because I think it's so much better. I'm sorry, okay. I didn't want to compare, but the one comparison that I can think of, it's kind of a Pretty Little Liars situation. So there's this aces, even starts with an A. There's this aces person who is sending text messages to the whole school, releasing secrets of mainly 2 students, Devon and Shamaka. And coincidentally, they are the only black students in the school, so that is interesting. I finished the first part. I think it's 3 parts. I finished the first part, and the first part is more like building tension and creating the situation for it to unfold on the second part. I'm really curious because I feel like the first part's a little bit slow. Like, I'm reading this book before I sleep, so I go to bed and I read a little bit and then I fall asleep. So I think it's building up, and it's probably going to get to a point where I can't read it before I sleep because it's going to get me too excited. That happens sometimes with the books I'm reading, and then I have to read them during daytime. Because then I can get like excited about the story. And I'm actually trying to finish Can You Keep a Secret? Because that happened. I felt like I was getting too agitated reading it before I sleep, but it's kind of difficult for me to read in other times of the day. So I'm trying to finish this book to read it in daytime so I can finally finish this book. And I think this is it. Yeah. let's do things for ourselves as well, not for only for others. And let's do one thing at a time. That's the only way. I saw this, I don't know if you saw that, but there's this new like studies that say your brain's not supposed to multitask. You're not supposed to do more than one thing at a time. So a better way of dealing with a lot of stuff to do is actually doing one thing at a time. Like for your brain, it's better to have that specific focus on every task. So that's what I've been trying to do, and I think it's working. But it's a lot of stuff, so it's going to take a while. But it is what it is. I think adult life is a, everlasting. It's an everlasting task list, and you'll never really get to the end of it, right? Yeah. So these past 2 weeks, actually, I think a lot of things, like adult things I had to do. I did my taxes, and I organized my home, and I did like an inventory of the things that I have like in the pantry. So that's good. Yeah, let's keep going one day at a time and one little thing at a time, and let's be brave and start things even if we don't want to. That is another thing that I've been practicing. I don't think I will ever feel like doing most of the things that I have to do to stay afloat in this world, like work and chores, stuff like that, and even posting, because I get so overwhelmed because I want to do things perfectly. So like this diary is a really good thing because it's more of an unscripted thing. So I feel like it's easier for me to be constant, but even the posts that I have a lot of like ideas, and I have a lot of written scripts, and I have to do it. So that's another thing. Yeah. So that's it for today, and see you next Thursday. And all of the next Thursdays, because we are not having holidays until November. So that's a lot of Thursdays. And I'm looking forward to November to have another holiday. Yeah. See you. Bye-bye. Almost forgot. I didn't talk about RMs. Right people, wrong place. Wow. Okay. Just quickly, right place, wrong person. Okay, yeah, and there's a song called Right People, Wrong Place. One thing that I like about RM is that he's always doing something new, right? If you look at all his solo work, and maybe like Mono and Bicycle are kind of this, have a similar vibe, but like his first solo album that is only on SoundCloud, and then we have Mono, which is it's wonderful, and then you have Bicycle, which is only one song, but it's really good, and then you have Indigo, which is something else, and then you have now Right Place, Wrong Person, which is something completely different. I was listening to it, I was like, what is happening here? I really, he's really experimental, right? And I think that is really cool. That's really interesting. So I like it, but at the same time, it's weird because it's not the type of music I would usually listen. I only listen to it because he's doing it. But I think that was a very interesting project. And the first time I listened to it, I found the vibe was kind of weird, but as I was getting used to it, it got better. So now I think it's a really good album. I mean, he's really good, so it was going to be a really good album, but it took me a while, which gets me thinking that, so I traveled home and I have this 2.5 hours in the bus. I usually listen to a podcast, but something I also did was listening to the Tortured Poets Department. But I only listened to like the first songs of the album, and I decided I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen like to parts of it because it's been, I think, over a month or even more. When was it released? I don't remember. Let me see. It's a long. Oh, April 19. It's like a month and a half, I guess. And I really haven't really absorbed it. So I've listened to the first songs. I stopped, I think, at let me see. I stopped at The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Wow, I listened to 14 tracks. Wow. And like there are other tracks that I like, but it's still not that like deep ingrained thing, you know, that you have listened to a lot and it's familiar. So I stopped there, and yeah, I still don't know how much of an opinion I can give about this album. It's really good, but I think it's an album that is, to me, is going to be a slow like thing, like over the course maybe of the year I'm going to feel more intimate with it, because it was really overwhelming for me, like 2 hours. Oh my god, like she had a lot of things to say. I'm very proud of her. Yeah, but I need time for this album, and it's weird, right? Because I can't even like listen to it for a long time. I have to get like small doses. Yeah, so that's the music, and that's it. Let's go. June, half the year already. It's flying, right? I think the older we get, the more time flies. The years really fly by. I get why older people say that. Now that I'm an older person, I agree. Time really flies by. When you realize you're an adult, it's really weird. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's not lose faith. We still have half of 2024 to accomplish what we want to. So do not give up hope. Oh, that reminds of that keyhole video. Give up, don't give up. Fighting. Let's go. Okay, now really, bye bye.